Recording in progress. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Looseheads Sports Show, the number one sports show on planet Earth, proudly brought to you each and every week by the terrible human beings that run Cafe and Gum Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, and EP Journals, caught up with Carlo Tizzano on the weekend.
Oh, yes.
Also brought to us by EP Journals, the best journals in the industry. Get one. If you don't have one and you're not chewing Cafe and Gum, then you're really not doing anything, are you?
I'm going to get one of the coaches' ones. Are you going to get one?
Mate,
I'll buy you one. I'll buy you one for your birthday.
I'm more than happy to get one, whether it be bought for me or I buy it. I'm more than happy.
Yeah, I like supporting the boys. Anyone that sort of puts himself out and does some sort of entrepreneurialism while still playing professional sport deserves the utmost respect. I believe, and support.
I agree. Now we are going to have a guest at some point. He will join the chat.
Just charging his iPad, he reckons.
He's charging his iPad. Lord knows what he's been using that iPad for before now, but that's okay. That's not what we're here to judge. Firstly, I've got to tick off two things. One thing really importantly, Cowra won again on the weekend. Big win.
What a great club. What a great place. Great club.
Yeah, it's just
good people there.
It's just my favourite place in the world. So congrats to the Eagles. I know second grade went down, but first grade got the chocolate, so well done out there.
Can I just do some little promotion before we launch into this? Just very quickly.
Do whatever you want, mate.
I just got to put out. I just put out a podcast with Royce Simmons yesterday. So Royce is doing a big walk from Goolagong to Panthers Stadium over the next 10 days, I think it is, to raise money for dementia. Listen to the podcast. He's awesome. He's been diagnosed with dementia in the last year. And what he decided to do is, rather than just, lie down and take it, he's looked at what he can do to actually get some positives out of it and delay it and fight back. So he took up walking, and part of his idea was to do a big walk to raise a ton of money for junior rugby league and for dementia research over the next 10 days. So give that a listen. Wandering Bear Sports Podcast.
Yeah, give it a listen.
And that's it, mate. Let's just get into it.
I'd be sulking. But if that was me, that's just reality. So people who do things positively like that is, I don't know. It's far better human than I am.
Geez, he had some fucking cracking stories. Like, he told me, I asked about like great characters, and he said after he'd retired, he went up to Brisbane to take some clients to a State of Origin match, and they've gone out in Caxton Street after the game, and Alan Langer's dancing on a table on a bar, shirtless, just wearing his undies, just with two beers in his hand. And someone else has tried, and no one's given him a second look, of course. And someone's tried to jump up on the bar with him. The security guards have run in, tackled that guy off the bar, thrown him out, and everyone's just bringing Alfie Langer beers all night. So
just let him dance.
You can do whatever you like in Queensland if you're fucking good.
You can look, you cannot touch the dancers. And that's a rule that goes around many places.
That's right. That's right. How's your weekend, mate?
It was okay. We were very bad on the weekend. I think we had 20-something unforced errors. So seemed like more like a 5-set tennis game with those stats. But look, got the chocolates. West have been a bit of a hiccup for us. Caught up with Steve James, who was one of my first coaches. He was the one who basically taught me that I could get away with having good skills and being a soft cunt through my whole career. So it was good to see him. He's a big fan of the pod.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to Steve and not his son. But yeah, not a bad weekend, mate.
Should we introduce today's very special guest?
You can introduce him. He's
fun. Can you put your camera on? There he is.
Holy dooly, there he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, very special guest, the second best second rower ever to come from Yamba, New South Wales, Waratahs captain Jed Holloway. How are you, mate?
How we doing, lads?
Good to see you, mate. Thanks for doing this. We're just talking about our weekend, so happy to just jump in.
Yeah.
Let's go. How was your weekend?
Mate, it was good. Obviously, tough loss against the Canes. I think it was a game we should have won, but it's the way the game goes, eh?
The turnaround in a year, mate. The turnaround in a year, like saying that you should have won a game like that, it's quite amazing, really.
Yeah, that's the hard part about it, though. Like, even though you can look at the positives and say how how well we have turned around. It's still like to be 15-0 up at half time and not take that one away. It hurts. But yeah, after it, mate, I went down to the cabin and did a bit of soul searching, which was good.
It's good. You've been known for those sort of vision quests throughout your career, going away and taking some time. I agree with Chubby. I think I watched it live. It was a dominant first half. You had all the sort of field position, most of the possession, scrum pads, like things were going your way. I got a question. How much of the game, like I suppose this is way too rugby related for what we wanted to do today, but how much of the do you prepare to use all your bench every week? It's a given that everyone's getting on at certain times, or is it as the game goes?
You've got an agenda here, don't you?
No, I don't. I absolutely don't. I'm curious because me and Ben were discussing the games have become more of, I suppose, if the All Blacks use all their bench, it's a thing. At Shoot Shield's probably not quite as a thing where you use all of them, but you have some fresh guys maybe. So how much of the game is prepped where guys are coming on?
I think the front row is kind of around that sort of 50 to 60 mark. They're kind of always expected to come on and try and make an impact. I think with the rest of the stuff, it's kind of just as the coach feels. Mate, in saying that, it was good to see Langy Gleeson get the ball in his hand at Super Rugby, mate. He's
very good.
He's the closest thing to Cliffy I've seen, around the Tars.
I took a drive out to near St. Augustine's to sit with his mum and dad and older brother to sign him when I was working in the underworld, and he
in child rugby.
Was this for prison rugby?
Yeah, prison rugby. And he did one year after that in prison rugby, and then just said, "Nah, I'm going to Manly Colts." And he's a killer. And I've been telling people, and I know you've had good reports on him, but his ball running and power, but he's also got that nerdy training ethic. He's just got that crazy training ethic, which you don't get a lot from young kids. So he's going to be really good. He's going to be really good,
mate. And he's he runs faster. I think his speed is something that people don't but he's the fastest in our forward pack. Easy and probably the most dynamic. And as you said, his work ethic is just head down, bum up, go, come in, get it done, learn as much as he can, doesn't speak too much and rips in, which is good to see.
It's perfect really for a younger guy. It's really what you want.
Exactly.
Are they really giving you the week off? Is that true story?
As it stands, yeah, which is, it would be good to go over there, but this is probably the most, consecutive games and consecutive 80 of Super Rugby I've played in my whole career. And doing that on the tight end side of second row is
fucking hard.
It's been a grind, yeah. But, DC's been good and thrown the idea of me resting this week, and it'll be good to freshen the body up a little bit.
I support it.
Oh, mate, absolutely. At your age, you'd take any rest you can get, surely. Did you get in the water down at Era, incidentally?
I did, mate. I did. I went diving for lobsters. It was
any success? No
success. I saw a couple, but I was getting washed over a couple of bombies and stuff like that, and I was like, If something was to happen down here, I wouldn't probably. Not many people know.
This is the thing, mate. This is the thing. This is it. This is what the thing is. If you wash up dead, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed off with you because one, we won't have a number one supporter of the podcast. But don't you just feel the shark coming? Or am I being a city boy? Am I being a city boy here? Tell me if I'm being a city boy,
mate. Well,
you got to come down one day.
There was a couple of times when because that's my first dive since the shark attack that happened at Maroubra there. And I was having a battle in my head, and it was I got to get back on the horse here. I can't let this affect me. It's a nice day. Swell was a bit big, but I'm I just got to get in there. And then literally it was 3 o'clock in the arvo, shade was over where I was diving. It was a little bit murky. So I was swimming around And every time I got into a little bit of deep water, that's the first thing that just kept on popping in my head. Just there's definitely a shark around.
What should?
Were you on your own? Were you on your own?
Yeah,
Do you have any?
I was on my own. Yeah.
I wouldn't. So I've been down there a couple of times, Gillespie. You should come down one day. It's fucking awesome down there. But I went with Jake Doug, and I couldn't imagine doing it on my own. I'd be scared shitless. I was scared of someone.
I've done a fair few solo dives, but yeah, definitely.
You just hear who's that snowboarder that died a few years ago? This is taking a really negative turn, but anyway, if you ever get the chance to come down, Gillespie, we should go down one day. It's really fucking good down there.
I'm happy to spot you from the shore, like with a fishing rod, but I'm not getting out there because I look like a seal if I'm wearing a leathered
land walrus.
I look like a land walrus that's been tanning, and I'm just going to get eaten. I like swimming. I like sort of surfing. I take the Macca's tray out there, get in the green room, but I'm not diving for lobsters. You're all crazy as shit.
Well, Gillespie, you just need to outswim Chubby, and I don't know. I'd like to see you do a swimming race, but
I could actually swim. I was a state swimmer, breaststroke.
There you go.
Coffs Harbour is not a state, mate. I've told you this so many times. Coffs Harbour is not a state. It's just a place.
But in all honesty, I really do think you, out of all people, Gillespie, could use a soul cleansing experience like a Euro.
I don't
go down there, turn the phone off, go relax.
I got mate. This podcast is my biggest problem. Ever since I've moved into this little shanty that I'm residing in at the moment, I only really talk to my parents on the weekends, so they listen to the podcast.
Mate, that little 4-bedroom fucking mansion that you're living in, that all your degenerate activities are paying for.
Well, my parents think I've got massive, bigger problems than I do, and my problems are already big. Now they think I'm a drug addict because Chubby keeps fucking referencing it every week.
Holloway, have you ever heard of a lawyer who works in a warehouse living in a 4-bedroom mansion? Just doesn't add up, does it?
No, I'm a builder at the moment. I'm building decks.
That's right.
But I only catch up with them on the weekend, and they sort of give me the side eye if I ask them for an extra.
I can't believe they even listen. I can't believe they listen to this.
They have to find out about my life, and they give it. I go, "Oh, Mum, how about a little lobster for some Diet Cokes on the way home?" And she gives me the side eye because Hubby keeps talking about drugs.
Well, it's only because you sell them to me every chance you get, or try to, because I wouldn't ever buy them. But let's actually do what we usually do and go through the shoot shield, Jed. I know you pay attention to everything. Just because Holloway's here, we shouldn't change things. Let's just go through the usual. I'm glad I got that on camera too, by the way. But let's go through the results. Do you want me to talk about the Souths weekend?
Do Souths, and then we'll quickly do the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to win a game when you win 47% of your lineouts. But if you there's a few key moments in the game that let us down, and it's like the more and more I'm watching, it's key moments in games are really what let you down. We didn't catch a kick on the full, ran with guy, scored off it. Our lineout more was going towards the line, and our ripper collapsed 30 centimeters from the line. And we were over the line, and the guy knocked the ball on. So if all those things went our way, that's a game that we win. And if you win a couple more lineouts, that's a game that we win. But watch the game. The ball's in play for 36 minutes, which apparently is more than what happens for Super Rugby. And it was, apart from a few things, a quality game. Randwick deserved to win, I think. And we'll just keep going. Like, what else can you say?
Yeah, there's not much else. You just got to keep grinding.
What happened when the yellow card happened? Because I literally walked 100
There was two yellow cards.
Was there the first one? I think it was around the 60th minute mark. I literally walked.
No, it was just before half time. Just before half time. So he was off. He must have been offside or something. I don't know what it was for. It looked like the most ridiculous yellow card.
I saw one with the seatbelt type tackle on the sideline, and it was 12 all. And I literally walked from the physio room to the team room. Then I got one of the boys to put the score up again, and it was 24-12.
Yeah. So, you wouldn't say the boys aren't confident, but confident teams probably win those little moments more than they lose them.
Yeah.
Look, we've had a number of games with a couple of little moments have gone our way. It's a different result. Again, that's on us, but this is probably the most PG answer I can give you, Gillespie, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I can say nothing about our post-match was PG on the weekend. We were awful. As I said, we had 20-something unforced errors. And it was all just balls in. It was all ball in player handling, things like that. So, look, the end of the day is we got out of there with the chocolates, but there was no chocolates being eaten in the sheds. I can tell you that for free. And 6 till 12, as per usual, Saturday night was on huddle in a lot of capital letters.
I'm really curious how you do that straight after a game. Don't you have I needed to let it sit for a little bit and take the emotion out of it so I can look at it logically.
I've heard it different from different coaches, right? In terms of, look, there's a few. One of the realities is I got to work, so I have to do it at some point. The other, I suppose, thing is the players know that I fucking give a shit, particularly after disappointing games. They really like to get it early. But I've heard some coaches being like, no, they need to sit and marinate on their own juice, till Sunday. So sometimes we delay it, but, I do it straight after the game, just from both necessity and from, it drops over at bloody 12 o'clock and the players who are still up thinking, go, all right, they take it seriously. So, I've heard both ways on it though, and I'd accept both ways. Yeah.
How do the Tars do it, Jed? They'd be straight up after the game, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I think they get straight into it after a game, but they don't really. They ask players to do an individual review and have it by Monday morning before the team review comes out. So they can see what you're seeing and if your thoughts align or if there is a collision, if there is a clash of thoughts, and you can go address it. But for me, doing my individual review, say we play 7 o'clock Saturday night, because you're that wide on the great caffeine gum Australia, you don't get to sleep until 2. I tend to come and bang out my reviews straight away while it's all fresh in my mind, rewatch the game back and get my thoughts on things.
So how do they want your reviews to look? Are you sending them clips of things that you did well, things that you did badly, or is it just things that you need to work on for that week?
No, highlighting the good and bad, but talk about, I go through attack, defense, line out and scrum. And then basically at the end, just my initial thoughts on vibe of the games, calls we made in game. And that's mainly for your leaders to do. They wouldn't expect a younger guy to share the thoughts on what decisions we made in the game. But I just do attack, talk about ball carry, attacking ruck, whatever, defense, our system, and how I thought I tackled, and then how our line out function, and obviously more. And then scrum, I just say, give them feedback on how I felt behind certain props and stuff like that, and what the thoughts were out there.
The data's fresh on a Saturday night for me, so I agree with I would do a similar thing. Sometimes Chubby as well. I'll have initial thoughts I'll write before the review, just off the game. I'll be I thought he was really good. I thought this worked really well, and then video might either disprove it or prove it, as well. So,
have you found that you're getting better at seeing things in the game live the more you do it?
I'm not sure.
Was that already a strength of yours to start with?
I'm not sure, because to be honest, during the games, really when it's mostly emotional, whereas post games are analytical. So I don't know whether what I'm seeing live. I'm just fucking holding my Diet Coke and hoping we score a lot. But it's really post match where you break it all down. Do you want me to quickly go through the other results, if it pleases the jury, Your Honour? So Uni knocked off East pretty well. I think that's pretty well. I saw that coming.
They should have.
Yeah, 21-15. Saw that coming. The Rats beat Para in an interesting game. Para's still kicking up a stink. We've got to play him this week. So, look, Rats were in control for the whole game. But, I don't know. Para hung in there. They scored enough points. By the way, Can I get an amen on what the budget is at Para at the moment? Is it fucking $2 million? What's happening?
Salary cap.
No, we
salary
don't have
cap.
The cap got scrapped. I was wrong about that apparently. So we're still on the point system. Are they operating on 4 billion fucking points? What's happening here,
mate? Well, good question. They just got a shout out to Liam. I know you're listening. I think they just got a 6'8" second rower from Sale. So
yeah, but the 10's from England. I think pretty sure the 7's from England. Like, what's the budget, Parramatta? You guys got a hotel you're stocking these guys in? What's fucking going on here?
You looking for a job next year?
No, actually that is quite local. If they're willing to throw the spinach around like it, I don't know. I have no idea what sort of spinach is getting thrown around, but they've got some. Look, they've got some guys from around the shoot. They've got some guys from Para, and they've got some guys from fucking nowhere near here. So I want to know what the budget is. The Norths come back to beat Gordon in an interesting one.
I've watched that game. Did you watch that one?
Nah, there's only so many hours in the day. I can't watch that one as well. But I don't know. That was always going to be a tight game. Norths need to get back on their winning horse.
I reckon Billy Melrose is under the pump there.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how these things work. I wouldn't have thought, to be honest, Billy was under the pump at Manly. If you look at how Manly went for that 4-year span or a 5-year span, like they went, grand final, majors, like some seriously good results. Gordon still, I wouldn't say are battling at all. They've just had some really tight games. So yeah, I don't know. I got no fucking idea. They got a bit of spinach as well, Gordon. So I'd be happy.
You said you're sitting on the fence a little bit today. Like, where's all the fire that you usually have?
Okay, I'm going to say no. I don't think he is. Go fuck yourself. I think he's fine. What I'm really angry about, actually, no, I'm happy with this. How the fuck did Hunter beat Manly? Thank you for beating it, firstly, Hunter. I'm a big fan of that.
Was it at Newcastle?
Yes.
That's probably how.
Hey, what do you mean that's how?
Big trip up the fucking highway, a couple of beers the night before, potentially.
Are they legit, Hunter? You get Big Roos singing their praises every week down at Wotas training.
Yeah, he is a big clubman, Ron Smith.
He is. He's a big icon.
Brown paper bag.
Old brown paper bag hen.
Allegedly.
I think he's played in Coke Zeros.
I think he's played in. Yeah. Anyway, Holloway. They're a good football. They're a decent football side. They've got a good thing going there. It's a nice place to play. One thing that again we talk about every fucking week though is they've got 2 grades and 1 Colts. So you've just booted Penrith, who needed to be booted. You got a couple of other clubs battling to field the teams, and then you go right, but we'll bring a team in with 2 and 1.
Yeah,
so,
with a huge nursery up there as well, just quietly.
Yeah, well, but whatever vision quest you're going on Saturday night is the same as Sydney Rugby Union's board when they make these decisions, because it's just fucking abominable. I don't get it. It makes no sense. But look, they're a decent football side. If you're not switched on when you play Hunter, you lose. Fair, Chubby?
But I think that's the same with every team in this comp, mate. We say it every week.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think some are falling now. But I agree. I somewhat agree, yes.
So we're playing you guys next week?
Yes.
Mate, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I figured that the losers should have to get the winner's name tattooed across their neck.
If we win, if we win, you've got to come out on a night in the piss with the entire Chubb family.
I could die though.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Super Rugby, or is that all the Shoot Shield results for the week?
That's pretty much all the Shoot Shield results. I didn't have anyone come back to me about my fucking ranting about Manly from the week before. So I'm just going to take that as a guilty plea, and I'm sentencing you to my hate list. Go on.
Well, while I got you boys, I got to ask a question. With the Maul, have you you've played Sydney Uni yet, Jed Gillespie?
No.
Okay, so if the back lifter steps around before
penalty.
The Maul's even started, it's a penalty, isn't it?
Penalty.
Yeah.
Penalty.
Okay. Because I'm bringing it up to the refs every week and nothing's happened.
Well, that's ironic because we've been penalised for it. So I don't know what. the week-to-week consistency is getting odd. The other one last week is his situation for you. I got a pass to Chubb to score the try for a win, score the try, right? Holloway, you slap the ball down, but Chubby still scores. Is it a yellow?
Well, it's like our yellow against the Crusaders, and they got one as well. We illegally collapsed them more. They still ended up scoring the try, but he gave them a penalty try and a yellow card.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like the other week against Manly, the ref said because he scored, it's not a yellow.
That's horrendous.
Correct. Which was then backtracked on, but fucking, I don't deal with the questions and whatnot unless they're very specific around scrums, but I can see why head coaches just fucking go grey in the hair very quickly. I'll tell you that for free.
Well, you won't have that issue.
No, I won't have that issue. Oh, which one? Head coach or grey in the hair? Both.
Grey in the hair.
Well, if I go grey in the beard, my life's over.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about that the other day.
That's true.
I was trying to get to sleep, and I just thought, if I go grey in the beard, I'm fucking done. I can't go baby face. It's a bad look. It makes my chin look weak. It makes my chin.
Ginger beard is kind of a win for you at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It is a win. It really shapes the face. But if it goes grey, I'm fucked. I'll look old as shit.
But you're not looking for women anymore at this stage in your life, right?
Yeah. See, this is how we know he's a keen listener of the program. No, this is week 3 of celibacy, deliberate celibacy, and
deliberate.
It's going well. Obviously, none of the apps on the phone anymore. Helps the data. I don't have to pay for as much data, so things are looking good. The boys are just getting my full attention at training, and I find lineouts very arousing now. So that's it.
How's Waylo going?
I've
got to bring him up every episode.
Oh no, it's really good because as I try not to bring him up, you will then go ahead and bring him up. Goody had a line break on the weekend, so that'll throw everything in. An absolute blender.
Take it after his coach there. Take it after his coach.
Yeah, but that's not the key to success, as we've learned many times on this podcast, taking out the coach. So, look, he had a good game on the weekend. So that's all I got to say about James Whalen.
And he'll end up at the Rebels next.
Okay. Oh, geez, I need to be careful.
Yeah, well, we got the Waratah captain with us. We got to be a little bit.
Well,
PG.
I'm still waiting for Melbourne's decision on what they're doing with their players, because if they decide in their infinite wisdom to send them all to Queensland, no one who I've ever met again will go to Melbourne, because what's the incentive of us sending players to Melbourne? They haven't produced anyone. They haven't made anyone better. And then in the off-season, you send them to Brisbane. Never again. Never anyone I ever meet will go there. I will tell them fake stories like it's the African jungle to keep them away from Melbourne.
You don't have to tell them fake stories. Hey, so who's telling you they're going to Brisbane?
Very reliable sources.
Because I've heard otherwise from very reliable sources.
Well, if they're
actually not that reliable, to be honest.
If they're affiliated, so if they're an Eastwood junior, they would be coming back to Eastwood. But if they're a guy who wants to play or is slightly less affiliated than a junior, they would be going to Brisbane.
Interesting.
To be babied through a competition. Baby Bob. Bob.
What's wrong with you? 3 weeks of celibacy and just smoking weed every day can't be good for you.
It drives me so fucking anyway. So look, if that pans out, it depends how that pans out. But anyone.
So we talk about Super Rugby.
Yeah, well, Super Rugby, the TARS game. What were your thoughts on the TARS game? We've got the bloke here. I was the first half was going very well. I thought a big, and I did mention this to Holloway, not that he needs my fucking opinion, but I thought a big turning point in the game was the change of the front row from the Hurricanes. I know that sounds so, of course, he would say that because he's a prop, but it's true. I found that to be a bit of a point where the game started to hinge.
Yeah, you asking Jed that?
It's just a comment. So when we're on a panel, 3 people, I'll just say a comment, and then anyone else just chip in next, right?
What did Paddy get red carded for?
Like a little shoulder to the head. Like Geordie Barrett caught a kick and Paddy just ran in, chested up, and shouldered him to the head. But
it was
nothing.
It was very 2022. It was very 2022. But what are you going to do?
He got off, which is a good thing.
He should have got off.
It's that whole thing with the rugby collisions and stuff like that, which they've kind of brought in now. It looked more like a rugby collision than it's not like he was intentionally trying to shoulder him to the head.
But there's no.
What do you as a player? What do you make of all that? Because it's like any contact with the head at all, whether it's on purpose, innocent, a bit lazy, is automatically a penalty or a yellow or a red card. Do you think that that's a good thing? Do you guys consider that in your training? What's your take on that?
Yeah, you definitely got to consider it into your training, and like your train scenarios where you're down to 14 men, or like the situation we had earlier in the year where we lost both our hookers and then our third string thrower in Angus Bell to a red card earlier. It's like that's something that was probably a once in a career scenario. But you do try and train for the worst case scenarios for sure.
So they'll occasionally go, Team A's got a yellow card, you're out for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's almost conceding that it's going to happen though, rather than, because it's part of the game, rather than going, okay, let's fucking go back to square root. How the fuck are we going to avoid all these unavoidable head contacts? It's just conceding it's going to happen. Let's train for it.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's like no one goes out there intentionally trying to take someone out shoulder to the head. It's
Swinton's injured, so that's not going to happen. That's just a joke. We know, we love you.
As a captain at Super Rugby level, do you how much extra work do you have to do around that area of the game, managing referees? Do you meet with them before games? Like I know some coaches will talk to the refs before games. Are you a part of that? Like what's that like fit from your end?
I mean, no, I think DC goes through, like DC and the coaches would talk about the issues that they've seen with the team coming up, and follow up on what issues happen in the game to try to get answers around it. But it's all like with me or with Jake, whoever's captain. It's just all about talking to the ref before the game and then trying to manage him. Like I'm very much someone who like to let the referee do the job that he's there to do. And if he's got comms to me or I have a couple of points to raise to him, it's just trying to find the best opportunity at the moment. But yeah, it's not something that, I wouldn't want to get too much involved with, because I feel like you could almost overdo it sometimes. And
yeah, you can.
You'd be white noise to the referee if you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's a very sensible way to view it. I feel like if you respect them, they'll respect you in terms of their space. But one of my pet hates is, like, Chubby, you've been there for the pre-match scrum, like, meet-up, and then one of the props will just go on an absolute rant to the ref. And I think I literally just walk into the sheds and go, game's over. Game's over. Like, they're human beings. So if you go up to him and be like, mate, this is what I saw. Wouldn't believe how bad their tight end is. He's bloody doing this. He's doing that. He's doing this. You go, well, you've just cost us 5 penalties.
You can't, particularly if you're doing it as well. No.
Well, but also, like, if you're constantly there going, like, this is their tight end's bad, like he's angling in and stuff like that, it means you need to be perfect and stuff. Like, I feel like you need to make sure you do everything perfect. As soon as he sees a bad picture, he's going to be like, oh, Angus or fucking HJH or whoever's trying to collapse. So give the penalty the other way.
Oh, yeah. I agree so much. But, yeah, that's a good question. That was a fucking very respectable question, Chubby. Well done.
Who are you voting for in the latest election, Gillespie?
Me? Oh, have you heard? I mentioned on the podcast last week, I've actually got some feedback. Since I'm a tradie now, that fucking jingle, the Liberal Party's jingle about the hole in your bucket, have you heard it? It's outstanding.
I haven't heard it.
Oh, fucking.
Can you play it for us? Can you sing it or something for us?
There's a hole in your budget. Dear Labour, dear Labour. Have you not heard that?
Oh, I don't need to hear that again.
Mate, it's got me. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I've also lost Chubby now, and he's back.
Hold on, I'm back.
But that's a hell of a jingle. I don't know whether it's going to determine who I vote for. But, yeah, as I said, I've really just been struck down by that candidate from Asquith who wants to build new ramps. So even though I'm not in his electorate, I will be advocating heavily for the new ramps at Asquith train station.
Mate, every time I see a Clive Palmer ad on the road, I try and get a photo for it and just do the reface app so that it's you. Well, it's one of my favourite hobbies because I know you're a huge fan of him.
Well, I'm not a huge. I wish he was a little bit skinnier, to be brutally honest, because then the refacing of me onto him wouldn't be so offensive. But yeah, I don't know. I got to go early vote today. I don't know about you two because surely you'll be busy Saturday.
I do in the morning. I have time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our politics for this week for our listener that hates when we talk about politics every week. Also, a big fuck you to everyone that hates swearing.
Oh, fuck.
Mate, you called out Dowden last week and he didn't respond. What's that about?
I don't know. I don't have a relationship with him. What I said was...
I'll send him the episode.
Good. Do it. I'm not being held ransom by a fucking person on Facebook. Now, all I heard was that, and I don't use Facebook anymore because it's for our parents' age, but he was hammering Eastwood for the first 3 rounds. And I said, that's fine, but don't you come on any fucking bandwagons later in the season with one of those, like he used to do at the South, great men down at South. You got great at Jed Holloway and great at Duncan. No, there'll be none of that about Eastwood. If you're fucking against me, you're dead.
Can you get him on just so you guys can hash this out?
There's nothing to hash out. There's no hash to be made of this. There'll be no hash from this. It's just a fucking...
Well, that would be... Holloway, are you across the Brendan Shaw fucking... what's his name? The tiger belly thing?
Bobby Lee.
That's just gone... Bobby Lee?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll explain it to you later. It'll take too long. But Gillespie, there's an opportunity there.
No, there's
a little bit of controversy, you know.
No.
You can put him in his place a little bit.
The Lions do not concern themselves with the opinion of the sheep. And I am a Labrador. So I fit right in the middle of that whole situation. I don't have many other talking points to this week. I wrote one note down last week, which we forgot to talk about, Chubby. That could lead us down an interesting path. So my one note from last week on my notes app is that I had a multivitamin. So I'm not sure where my brain was at when I wrote that. But what I can tell you is I think my body went into shock after I had the multivitamin.
Did you eat before them? Did you eat before it?
I might have had a little morsel or something, but my body had or maybe it just hasn't seen vitamins in a while. I can tell you that it doesn't get much food, like good food around here. But I think my body started shutting down.
Can I ask a very serious question? Are you okay? And two, like, what motivated you to finally, at whatever age you are now, to finally start taking care of yourself?
I'm 29.
No, you aren't.
I'm 29.
Surely not.
I'm 29 years old. I had the spicy cough, and then I went back to the tools because I'm Jimmy Barnes, working class man, and my auntie said, take this multivitamin. Next minute, I go for a urination, as we all do, stay well hydrated. It's fucking like purple.
You failed a drug test.
I'm feeling the shakes. Well, that's what I'm going to come to in a minute. And I'm just shaking around going, I think my kidneys and my liver were just going, well, I don't know what this is, but I don't like it.
Does your auntie maybe do what you do for a little side living as well?
My auntie's name is Stephen Dank. But it took me back to not only my body completely failing me because I don't eat fruit or vegetables, but it took me back to a question we had a while ago. But sups, Holloway, what sups are you guys on running in there? Obviously there's a few guys on the jab, but everyone else, what are they running?
Well, we've got this new S&C head of performance from, I think, Edinburgh. Mate, he's unreal.
I think it was Glasgow, wasn't it?
Glasgow. Mate, he is unbelievable. Like, he's got us on anything and everything, basically. Creatine, protein, all the vitamins that you need. And it's all there ready to go when we walk in. So he's making us smack a few shakes a day, and he's into me at the moment about eating as much as I can in this little week off that I got, because obviously it come back a bit lighter this year, and which is an interesting topic of conversation, because previous years I've always told you that I'm too fat and to get skinnier, and now it's all about me trying to get a little bit heavier.
Is that because of the positional change that's come about? Because before you were a back rower, now you're playing second row. Obviously, you can be a little bit.
Was he though? He sort of was in the second row when he left.
Yeah, I was always kind of in and out. Mate, I just think because I've come back a bit leaner and stuff like that, I tend to drop weight quite easily, and it's just all about keeping it on.
I've experienced this as well, Holloway. It's body hate. So when you come back in the nick that we're wearing at the moment, so obviously looking good, things are all in the right places, people start to want to shit on you, right? And that's day one. So the one that I put my finger on there was the creatine. Creatine has been the big bad wolf of the supplement industry since I've been a child. Chubby, I don't believe you take supplements or go to the gym, so maybe just leave this one to me and Holloway. But I was never allowed creatine as a growing boy, because you remember there was rumors that it used to shut down your kidneys and things like that.
Yeah,
you remember that era?
Yeah, I was probably like when we were year 11 coming out. I remember boys.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing creatine loading along with wearing power.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry to interject some sensible opinions here, Gillespie, but creatine is actually the most tested supplement.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. It was just
in like scientifically tested, so that it's got the most scientific research into its benefits.
I just remember shoveling it into my mouth as like a 17-year-old, just trying to get muscles, and people telling me it was going to fucking shut down my kidneys. Then here we are, 12 years later, I have a multivitamin and almost die. So creatine.
Actually, can I ask a serious question, Holloway? Just fucking my brain just goes randomly. How fucked do you feel most of the time? Like, are you tired all the time? And how do you, like, because you train pretty hard, you play lots of footy. Like,
I am.
Like, how do you feel most of the time, and how do you get up for training, and or are you just used to it at this point?
Yeah, I think during the season you get to a point where you're used to it, and then like I think around like the last 4 weeks, I've definitely started to feel like Monday, Tuesday is kind of just like a write-off for me. It's just like getting through to Thursday, and then I kind of like rebuild my week to, train fast on Thursday, captains on Friday, and then you get excited for the game and have 4 pieces of caffeine gum for the match. So, it's definitely a grind at the moment, and I think it's been felt, and it's been great of the coaches have given me some time to recover.
But do you think it's as much mental as it is physical, or is it mostly just physical, or is it mostly just mental?
There you go. I honestly think for me it's physical, because I still get it's not like it's hard getting to training every day. It's not like it's a grind. You know how when you get into seasons, it just feels like it's a constant grind. It's never ending. It's honestly exciting to go, like to turn up and go to training each day, and excited about the week ahead. But it's just all about structuring my week so I can get the best result on Saturday. And if that means being fucked and miserable for Monday, Tuesday, then that's kind of the way it is.
I always found it interesting when I first started playing grade. Obviously, there was a few professional props around, and they're like, you just feel fucked all the time. And learning to deal with that is like the first thing that you have to come to when you become a professional player. Sorry, Gillespie, I cut you off there.
Yeah, no, you get very good. I mean, I suppose that's what you get good at, right? It becomes your day in, day out, year in, year out. Even, 2 or 3 months into being a pro, you sort of get immune to the tough fitness a little bit, and fuck it, we got another contact session. And so I suppose it becomes part and parcel with just the business. But I can understand why Holloway's a fairly headstrong character, so it's his body from the collisions at this point of the season that's sort of doing him in.
I think the key is like keeping that mentality all in check and not feeding it out through. I think in the past, like my prior experiences at the Tars, I get to a point where I felt fucked and I'd like, have that drip feed through the team instead of just keeping it internal. Like for me, it's, yes, you are feeling sore and battered and bruised, but you have also played fucking 16 games this year. But like, it's going to be okay. Like, suck it up and make sure you're not feeding that into the team, because with a young team, it's it can be, as you know, as players, like if one person's off it, that quickly changes to 10 people, and then, it can change your whole dynamic of everything.
Mm.
What do you do apart from diving and going to Euro? What do you do in your free time? Bit of YouTube, bit of study.
Listen to you blokes on my drive home.
Oh yeah,
I am trying to get through a uni course at the moment. Which one? My uni's at ACPE, so I just health and movement, mate, exercise science.
I may have done that on the side, so let me know.
Yeah. Give me some assignments.
It's done Gillespie well, that course.
Mate, qualified lawyer. Now,
that's right.
What are you, the chippy?
Scientist.
Yeah, so you're doing health movement.
Yeah.
ACPE.
So just ticking that away, trying to do two. Here's one for you. Do you remember David Boyle?
Yes.
From RA Academy.
Yes.
So he's one of my units is strength and conditioning, and we're trying to get it just flicked through because of prior learning and stuff like that. But I need to sit down and have a meeting with David Boyle. And our course coordinator said he's been flagged for a couple of warnings because he's doing lifting exercises with obviously these young kids out of school, calling them pussies, and then taking off his own shirt and showing them how to lift.
So he was the S&C in and around NTS when we were growing up. And I was never fully in NTS, but I had these little spurts where I'd be invited in. And I do remember, like, I'd come in and do a cardio session or something, and he'd just be like, "You are a fat pussy." Basically.
So he's a good judge of character.
Yeah, no, well, he wasn't wrong, but he was sort of like this, he was sort of just this old dude who, like, his knees are blown out and he's got like a 27 pack, but he'd just be like, "You are truly a disgrace of a person." So yeah, that's where all the emotional stuff started for me. But that's good.
Do any of the
Oh,
I was just going to say, do any of the other players do anything like that? Does anyone do anything interesting on the side? Because obviously during the season you got a fair bit of time to do stuff. Like I know Carlo and Cammy all have their own little business that we mention every fucking episode.
A few of the boys are at ACPA, I think.
Yeah, me and Jake Gordon are out there. A few are at other unis trying to tick away. Just, I got a bit of a late run at it, so I only just started probably 2 years ago. But, guys have been doing it throughout their whole career, and I'm trying to do a little bit of like work experience elsewhere, just to try guide my life. So when I'm done rugby, I can kind of know what I'm going into, other than, doing a Jed Gillespie and spending 6 years on a lawyer degree and then want to throw it in after a year.
Jump in the podcast game, mate.
Well, Holloway, I'll tell you for free, mate, I can legally witness things, and I witness a lot of shit. So I'll just put that out there.
What does that even mean? What does that mean?
When you
elaborate.
When you do a stat deck, or you need to change you need to have a justice of the peace witness your signature.
Are you a JP?
I'm yes, that is what I can do. So
some of the dumbest people I know are JPs.
I'm not a JP, you idiot. If you would get admitted to the Supreme Court, you can do that. So
Hugh Roach's the JP.
I do know Hugh Roach.
That's what I mean. Shout out to that guy. I know he'll be listening.
He's listening.
He'll be listening. He's probably here somewhere.
So how many courses are you doing a semester? Do you say 2?
Doing 2 units at the moment.
See, I echo, like, the sentiment that you should do that while you're doing football. But I, in my brief stint, tried to do one unit and fucking did not go very well. It was too hard. I was like, I want to go out to Chapel Street and drink beers or relax and watch movies. So I pulled out. I deferred. So the fact that you're doing it is very positive. And it doesn't really matter how long it takes because, you know, your footy career's, I don't know, probably got 5 or 6 years, whatever it's got left in it. And then you'll be done anyway. So it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Let's hope.
And if you get into any trouble and you need some tutoring advice, I tutor a few of the guys at the TARS. Just fucking hit me on my Gmail and we can sort it out.
They're the blokes you're doing. They pay you to do their assignments, don't they?
No. That's not how it works. So what happens is that I'll come in and help tutors or assist in ways to study. I assist in ways to study, Chubby. And it's all their own work.
I believe you. What's that drug that they use in Limitless?
Yes. I need that. I want that now.
Yeah.
I want that yesterday.
Mate, you should start selling that as well.
Chubby messaged me the other day because I actually did have some requests for the Jed Sold Me Drug shirt. And he's like,
I've had heaps as well. I need to pull my finger out there.
Well, no, he's like, if you ever want a proper job someday, you know, maybe you don't want people wearing Jed Sold Me Drug shirts. But I said, mate, there's 2 Jeds in this town. There's 2 Jed
Gillespie sold me. No, it's Jed Gillespie sold me drugs.
Just make it broad. As long as we keep it Jed in general, there's at least 3 people whose parents weren't far-sighted enough to name them Jed. So, you know, it could be anyone. It really could be anyone. It's like John these days, mate.
That's awesome. The only 2 Jeds in New South Wales on the same podcast together. Unreal.
There we go.
No, actually, I have a rugby thing to talk about because we were talking about it before it kicked off. Holloway, and Holloway, you could weigh in on this big time. We were talking about different styles of players, right? It's like, you know, I suppose you power guys. Chubby had a metaphor for it. Do you want to do the metaphor, Chubby? The piano-related one?
Piano players or piano pushers.
Yeah, I suppose, okay. So piano players, pushers, I had it as sort of like a power, hard worker or like a finesse sort of player.
Mm-hmm.
You changed a little bit between, like, there was a point where your football changed a little bit. There's a point where my football changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Where I'd probably say you were hard worker, and then you sort of became a bit of a power, bit of a finesse dude.
Yeah.
When was that? What happened during that period that made you change?
In terms of what, like working around that? Because I reckon, you know, early on in my career, I was probably considered a bit of a seagull.
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna actually take you back before that. So like before your career really kicked off, while we were still, you know, 18, 19, you didn't have that explosive speed quite yet that you ended up getting, and then you ended up with sort of the seagull. Your words, not mine. Sort of.
Yeah.
So you had a bit of like a muscular birth or something. You had second puberty around 19 or 20.
Well, like, mate, I didn't start because I was a kid from Yambra. I didn't hit puberty till I was like 17. So I didn't like lift a weight or anything until I was basically that first year in the academy. So I was just probably figuring out my body. Like, always was a beach sprinter and stuff like that when I was a kid. So I was always quite fast, but it was just like, I guess, translating it onto a footy field, I guess, and working out how the game works. Like, I was never made a rep team until I was 17 as well. So I never really played good quality football. I was probably just plodding around on the field out in Yamba.
Yeah. And it went from then, again, like when you were like a wide running sort of guy.
Yeah.
And now you've probably 50-50'd it. So you've met in the middle, I'd say, or probably maybe more towards the hard carries than the wide carries now that you're sort of on your second coming.
Yeah. And I think that's been the biggest, most important transition, is trying to find ways other than just carrying the football to have an impact on the game, like more D, line out. You know, I always saw myself as just a ball carrier and didn't really consider myself much other than that. I'm still not a kicker. I don't know if you saw my drop kick on the weekend, but it is something I do not want to see. Yeah, rolled dead. But in fairness, I'm like, where's the 10 in that situation? Why am I the one trying it?
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. In fair, like you got to fucking the game's going. You got to have a crack. It came up just because players for some reason, from what I can tell, like not dealing at shoot shield level, everyone wants a finesse game. Like regardless of position, I think finesse is the one that comes on the highlight reels and looks really cool, but it's not valuable. It's not, and it relies so heavily on the bounce of the ball and whether you get the ball. And so, like we are guys who are really good workhorses or really good power players, and in the one-on-one interviews, they're like, man, I just want, I've been working on my offload or this or that, and I'm like, that's not at all what's going to get you to the next level.
Yeah.
Like it's a. Do you think that's a cultural thing from this country though? Like, do you think they have the same problems in South Africa and in England and France?
I don't know. I don't live there.
Do you know what I mean? Because here we kind of celebrate the Quade Coopers and, the Jed Gillespies of this world. And
yeah, but that's the thing. It did, like my style of football got me fucking nowhere. So like I try and reiterate that to people that like you got to tick the boxes that are already set there for you first. So if you're a tight five like Holloway, you got to tick the set piece and you got to tick the basics. Like you can't just skip to 5 and tick fucking cutouts and flicks. Because to be honest, it might look cool if the shoot shield, whoever runs a shoot shield account cuts it up. But apart from that, like it's not going to be valued because it's just not really what people are looking for.
Well, a perfect example, I reckon, is probably like Big Mark Noinoi Tawaze, or however you pronounce his last name.
That was pretty good.
But like, he's obviously a freak talent, freak athlete, but he was probably known to do too much flashy stuff, turn over too much ball and not front up in the physical side of it. And he's completely changed his game also, where he's, got told, like, you need to front up defensively. You got to stop throwing, 50-50 offloads, and because it's hurting our team. And he's honestly taken that on board and completely changed that. And he's still got the freak plays in him, but he's more of a stable winger who can finish really well. And
that's a very good example. That's a very good example.
Just on that, do you think it's on coaches to point it out to players and for players to be open to it for that to change, or is it something that you have to have self-awareness about?
No, I think it's 100%, especially for young kids. I think it's got to be on coaches and stuff like that, because I reckon, when I was younger, I never, I was making line breaks and stuff like that, but I didn't see it as, the other stuff as an important side of rugby. It was only till really, Cronny come in and started working with me, like working me hard around that stuff, and, really tried to make me, start doing the tighter stuff. And it was a transition period, because it was like, oh, well, I'm not making line breaks, or I'm not getting my hands on the ball. Like, something that I've always liked to do is ball play a little bit. And then, this year it's just kind of been a perfect storm with everything, where I get to ball play, I get to carry out wide a little bit, I get to carry through the middle and do a fair bit. So it's like, it's pleasing on that regard. But I definitely had some hard conversations with coaches, and I know Marky has as well, to kind of redirect them and kind of mentor and through that early transition of your career.
Yeah, I've had the same conversation, because unfortunately it's the way my time in rugby went, was that everything clicked too late, and guys like Isley, like who came in to shoot you, and he scored like 16 tries in his season. That's great, but at the moment you're ticking box 4 without ticking the first 3, and 2 of those are hard carries, tight tackles, things like that. So like and it appears, and I think you'd agree, like you've got to tick your core components, and then you get your additional. And so Mark's additional is he's got like a 2-meter jump, and he's got a really good hands, and he's steppy and things like that. But his core components are defense, being reliable, no turnovers, things like that. So I suppose they got to come as well as that extra piece that sets you apart. Whereas I find so many guys want to focus on that extra piece that isn't part of the core game and just be like, yeah, I really want to be an offloader, you know. It just doesn't work.
I think it just goes to show how important having good coaches is for young players' development. And also I think players have to be open to it as well. Like for me, like you both saw me play, I was a terrible rugby player, but I could scrum a little bit. But nobody ever said to me, you're not going to make it unless you can play footy as well. I'd never had anyone say that to me until I was in my 30s. So, you know, and probably I was too stupid to realise it anyway. But, you know, if someone had said to me, you could do this if you actually start applying yourself to playing footy, then I might have had a different career. I probably wouldn't have, but I might have.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's got to be on the player to. It's got to be on the player to take.
You got to be open to it.
You have to, and it might hurt in the moment, and it might like throw you a bit off, but it has benefits for sure.
It's the self-awareness, Holloway. I always think that one of the most important things with football or coaching or fucking anything is having a rough perspective where you can place yourself where you're actually at. So if you're the third best second rower at the Tars, or you're the fourth best, and your perception is, yes, I'm there. It's guys that struggle with the feedback and the development is when they're like, I should be playing, I'm the best, you know, or there isn't a hole in my game. Like that's the guys who struggle. So like for me, like if guys do their individual assessments and they're like, I'm not there yet. This wasn't good on the weekend. This wasn't great on the weekend. Like I haven't hit my game. It's the self-awareness that's so helpful. Whereas if guys are like, man, I was really, really good on the weekend, and a surprise that if there were holes in their game, that's guys who are going to struggle more with that transition big time.
Do you guys have players that you've worked with who are like that, who just lack a lot of self-awareness, and you're seeing something and they're seeing something completely different?
Yes.
Definitely.
And Chubby, I'll just jump on this and you can go shoot straight after me. But obviously Batch, and you mentioned it on the weekend in the pre-match speech, Batch is a guy who didn't live up to his potential as a footballer. He didn't. He was an absolute schoolboy superstar, signed straight from school, 3-year deal with the Brumbies, NPC, 5-6 years on contract with the Waratahs, never lived up to his potential. Same as me. So, you know, straight into first grade is fucking 18. Just never got to where I suppose you'd think that person would get as an 18-year-old. So when these guys do come across Eastwood, it's just painful because you go, you're heading exactly where I went. So, you know, like, and you try and get them. You try and get them. You go, mate, you can't be late for training every day, mate. You got to get on better with the players. Why are you the only one who hasn't sent a review and things like that? I purely, you know, not only just for the team, but just like, fuck, we've already been there. Like both of us have been there, and we don't want you there. We want you somewhere else because it's not an easy road.
I think young men have to learn it for themselves a little bit, and you can help guide them to it, but you can't tell a 21-year-old anything really about that kind of thing. Like we got a guy at South who nearly every, well, not every, but there's multiple Super Rugby clubs looking at him at the moment, and he is fucking awesome. And 3 years ago, he was legitimately a third grader, and you know, was deemed uncoachable. And then in the last 2 years, something clicked in his brain, and he just took complete ownership of everything. Rarely injured, very fit, does all the right things, but you could guide him to it, but he had to get there on his own.
And it's just whether getting there on his own and that time is going to cost them, because some people take longer to get to that than other people, you know, and the iron is hot. Like, let's be honest, the iron is hot around that early 20s period. When you're in your early 20s, that's when you got to strike while the iron is hot, while your body's killing it. And that's when super franchises like you. So that's why it's so fucking hard to see people who have got all the talent in the world and just, they're just not doing things that when they mature, they'll go, fuck me.
Well, I feel like Holloway, something's clicked in you in the last couple of years, you know, and how old are you now?
29.
Yeah, so it's, you know, you're you got in there early, but in reality, it's the last couple of years where something's really clicked. Am I wrong there?
No, you're right, mate. Like, it's perspective. Like, getting told that I wasn't wanted at the Tars in 2020, and then, going to Japan and not really playing that much. And, like, it's a pretty harsh self-review that I did on myself, and looked at where, like, different areas where I was shit and I had a bad attitude, and all about fixing it. And then also, having a family and stuff like that on top of that only makes you more accountable for your own actions and how it affects other people. So, I had to take a lot on and suck it up and work out what I really wanted to get from my career and how I wanted to be seen as a player, teammate, and, as a person. So, like, it took a lot to get me to that point, and I probably matured a lot later than others, because I probably was one of those players that, thought I was killing it, or even though I knew I wasn't killing it, didn't want to take the feedback on in a positive manner. I'd probably, hang my head and be a bit acidic. And, it's just, I guess, part of growing up. It's just got to...
It's bewildering what age does.
It's
fucking bewildering how your mind changes between 23, 24 even, and 29. It's fucking crazy. If you can take a 29-year-old's brain and just put it into a young talent, like they're going all the way. And that's where you get guys who, and I'm not going to fucking say who they are, but who aren't necessarily the most talented, but clearly mature. And they're guys who sit around in systems and play games for 10 years.
Yeah. Mate, I would love to have what my brain, like my perspective now when I was 21 and, in the position I was at, because a lot of the things in my career I have regret over because I took a lot of them for granted. But that's probably what's defining me at the moment, because I don't want to take those opportunities or these opportunities that we got at the Tars or whatever as something that I'm going to regret down the end of, like, later in my life.
Yeah. You can't regret it, because it's coming back to pay dividends now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
everything before led you to where you are now. So you can't really regret it. And, like, Gillespie, how many people really get second chances? It's not a common thing. So to have a second chance and to take full advantage of it, is a fucking awesome thing. It's like I look back at my playing career with complete regret as well. Like, I had more fun than probably anyone, but I didn't make the most of my potential. And I'm taking what I learned as a player hopefully into the coaching realm and trying to make the most of my potential now. But everything you've done before leads you to where you are now. So
100. I mean, that's the only way.
I believe in that.
That's the only way, Chubby. Like, for that perspective, which I share, I just got to save someone. And I've got to save 2 people. I've got to save 3 people. And I know they've got to learn it themselves, but I've got to save them. Because, like, if that's, I suppose, the advantage is, like, if I've already learned these fucking awful lessons, and lessons that some were unavoidable, some were very avoidable, and just go, mate, the good news is I've already learned this for you. Here, take it. Take the lesson. It won't cost you. And then you can just save that. You save a couple of people from going down a poorer pathway, then, that's the dividend that you get if you're not playing.
Jeez, I had some fucking fun, though, Gillespie.
Yeah, I had some fucking fun as well in my mid-20s. And it's all just paying, it's all paying, as we said, dividends a few words. Now I'm staring at my bed and my kitchen at the same time. So that's how things are fucking flying.
Let's do what we usually do. So we've taken up an hour of Mr. Holloway's time. For some fucking crazy reason, someone's letting you into a school to teach kids this afternoon. So let's finish up on a traditional. I enjoyed that conversation enormously. Gillespie, what's bothering you at the moment? Have you got any inspirational messages for our listeners? Obviously, we're going to get, maybe 10 more viewers because Jed's on. Something to fucking give the people some hope during this really tough time in our lives.
Oh, actually, you know what? This week, this is going to be a serious one. I'm peeling back the curtain a little bit. Firstly, buy property in Cowra. That's my first one every week. But
great place, Cowra. Absolutely great place.
It's never too
great
late.
People too.
It's never too late to change the direction you're heading. I've got a mate of mine this morning. He's 28. Just got an absolute killer score on the GAMSAT. Blew it out of the park. Going to be a doctor. Another mate of mine who's been sort of working for a long time, but now he's becoming a tradie. Never too late. So take the gamble, go in a new direction, and be happy rather than fucking stressed. So it's a proper one this week.
Can I comment on that? I've fucking got so many miserable people, not around me, but I know a lot of people who are unhappy at the moment. And I couldn't agree more with what you just said. Life's too short to tolerate anything less than shit you enjoy.
Oh, it's like if people are going, oh, I'm already 26. How can I become a doctor? Extreme example, but I'm 26. I haven't started my trade yet. Hey, what's 26? It's nothing. Just do it. It'll be done soon. And then when you're 50,
mate, I sell fucking chewing gum for a living. You can fucking do anything.
I said to this bloke,
you know what I mean?
I said my mate's big into drugs. And he drinks a lot of coffee, and he's selling chewing gum. So, like, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, I was going to get a shirt that said drug dealer on it.
Chubby,
just walk around wearing it.
Here's one for you. People are trying to make me become a teacher. And I don't know if I don't want to do it. Why is everyone doing that? Why is everyone fucking trying to make me do that?
Maybe Mr. Holloway could comment on that.
Why? I swear all the time.
You just look like a good teacher, good hard influence some of these kids need.
That's right. With the rugby coaching, you'd get a good job too, probably.
I don't want to go.
I don't want to be like a director of rugby in King's College and earn $1 squillion a year.
They do earn $1 squillion. I applied for some pats and I got knifed, and I think I know who I got knifed by.
Name names.
No names, but they'll be at the bottom of the ladder, so it doesn't matter.
In the black book?
They're fucking deep in the black book. It's just I got this thing in my head where one day I'm just for some reason on television and I'm just spraying everyone, but not in that nice way. I'm just like, it was a great privilege to coach against, or, it was a great privilege to work under. And really, I'm just sort of riding down in a parade with a fucking cigar, flipping everyone off. Now, I don't know what scenario
fuck you.
Exactly. I'm just going, and to him, he knifed me there. You're retired. You're dead. You're a loser. Just things like that. So, but those jobs, I don't want to go. I don't want to go down the school path because the school rugby coaching makes me a bit sad. I like coaching blokes. You can swear. You can make funny jokes. You can. I don't know. It's just I don't know. But everyone's trying to make me become a teacher at the moment, and it's making me angry.
Well, how many fucking degrees do you have to do? Like,
I don't know. You'd think that if I've already done a fucking coupler, but now I don't want to do them. Education. I don't want to.
But it would only actually because you've already done all those degrees. It's probably just a year, and you could be a teacher.
I think it's 2 years, and it just makes. I don't want to be a teacher, Chubby. This is what happened. This is the conversation because I go, I don't really want to, and then they go, but it's not that long. Like you just do it, and then in case, and then this is what happens. I get a fucking guy who sells caffeine pills, fucking trying to make me become a teacher, man.
How become a lawyer, Chubby?
Yeah, may I'll become a lawyer.
If Chubby enrolls in a Bachelor of Laws, I'll enroll in a Bachelor of Education, and you've got it here on the podcast.
I'm self-aware enough to know that I could never be a lawyer. Fuck that. Anyway, that was a really good rant, Jed. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And how's the THC vape going today? You're doing some cool smoke rings before. I got it all on camera too, thankfully.
My mother doesn't use YouTube, so it's an audio. This is an audio production to my parents. I don't do drugs. I don't even.
We have a strong no editing policy on this show as well.
That's fine, but I don't do drugs. So when I see you on Saturday at the football, just remember, Chubby's a liar. Okay,
right.
So everyone's happy. But I will say, very much appreciate Mr. Holloway's time. Somehow we always get into something insightful. Sometimes me and Chubby struggle to get there. It takes 47 minutes. I think today we dived a little bit quicker into that. And I don't know. It's just interesting to hear some takes from the captain of the Waratahs. In all seriousness, here we are fucking 10 years later, but the captain of the fucking Waratahs. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate
That's fucking wild to think. That's fucking wild to think of, eh?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that shit, or you just fucking next job, and you worry about that shit later?
I think it'll be something that I appreciate down the track. But at the moment it's just
jobs.
Job at the moment, yeah.
It's fucking cool, man. I wouldn't you don't think about these things when you're sitting around in the academy getting yelled at, fucking called a fat pussy, things like that. But
his thing with me is I had rolled shoulders. He'd always go, "Pull your fucking scaps back, dude."
Oh, well,
it's good advice.
I used to I got dragged in, given a pair of like 52 pants, so they were real baggy. And instead of a training shirt, a jersey. So I'm sitting on like a rower, and I'm like overweight. I'm at school, but I'm not super overweight. Jeez, and he's like, you're just a disgrace. You look terrible. Why they be considering you here? And I'm like, oh, mate, I'm okay. Like, I'm going to be all right. I probably won't be the world's best player, but I'll be decent.
Hey, speak of the devil, the Tars just bought some chewing gum. Thank you, boys.
Yeah, good. Eastwood, I have been having half a piece. I have half a piece, chubby, because my crippling anxiety won't allow me to have a whole piece, but I can have half a piece. And I think the boys can tell when I've had half a piece because I'm shooting.
You're more a downers type of guy than an uppers type of guy.
I smashed that chewing gum, and I know a lot of our boys do. It's greatly appreciated. It's probably the number one pre-game product for us.
Yep.
Well, mate, I appreciate that. People buying caffeine gum means that I can talk shit to people like you two and consider this a job. So it's awesome. Jed, anything to finish? Any rants? Any fucking things you want to promote? Just anything. Inspirational messages.
Feel the hill.
Feel the hill. Blues gun.
Feel the hill. I like the hill. I think it's a good movement. It's smart of the Tars to play there. I want to say thank you to you guys. Yeah, I am down a couple of kilos, so I'm feeling a bit lighter on my feet. Thanks for noticing.
I noticed.
No, I just want to say thank you. Really I'm glad you brought it up. And still celibate for now. I'm going to keep shaving the goatee. Once the goatee sort of grows back into the beard, then it might be time to get back on the market.
While we got Jed here, let's come up with some kind of bet for next week.
I told you the bet.
I got my whole family in town for the first time since 2014, so that could be a dangerous weekend.
Well, I don't know what. Just making you. I reckon you should have to work one day in the. Oh no, you've already worked in the factory. You got to come on the tools with me for a day, maybe.
I'll do that.
I know.
I'll do that.
Not bad enough. I need you to do
so that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I know. That'd be fun. That'd be fun for both of us. I'm still stuck on the neck tattoo as an idea.
Maybe. How about if we win, James Whalen comes on the podcast, and if you win, Greg Dowden.
I don't want Greg on the fucking podcast. That's not a win for me.
Well, anyone you want, you just fucking name it.
I don't think Whaler should be in the podcast. He can. Oh yeah, if you guys win, Whaler can be on the podcast for 5 minutes, but 10 minutes max. He doesn't need this sort of press. He doesn't need. He does. Yeah. I'm relatively happy with that. Roughly, I will say I've got to say one shout out. To my mate Tom Murphy, captain of Eastwood, got a very very high GAMSAT score. So your medical entry score very high. So. Well done.
And the good thing about our audience is nobody knows what GAMSAT means, and probably no one really cares.
So that's fine. It's just appreciating people. I also, again, one more time, Cowra Eagles won first grade. Every time Cowra Eagles win, a baby penguin is born. So well done to Cowra. Love Holloway. Ever been to Cowra?
No, I haven't. But I hear
fantastic place, mate. Fantastic place. Absolutely wonderful
greatest
people.
Place on earth. We are honestly, I think. If things don't go our way this year, coaching-wise, Eastwood decide I suck, South decide Chubby sucks, we move to Cowra and we just do something because I love it so fucking much.
It's looking likely for me at the moment. All right, stay online for 1 second and I'm just going to stop recording.